Hi everybody. Uh, if anyone's come here from the intro video that I posted, this video is actually 20-30 minutes after, and as you can see, something pretty crazy has happened. Bitcoin has dropped, which is actually the instrument that I had on the screen in the intro video. And the next video I wanted to post was actually to do with trend lines, and we can see that it's come down. It has gone through a smaller trend line, which was set up on a smaller time frame, and actually gone through to a longer time frame trend line. The line that you can see just above that one, this one here, I'll zoom in a bit more, was actually just an alert. So that's not a trend line, and I can actually probably just delete that to gain visibility on the actual trend line. So what I did here, I actually did put half of an order in on when it hit this trend line, just in case it would hit that and bounce back. Because it's such a big reaction to this point up here, you don't always see a really strong pullback straight away. So what I've done, I've put half of an order on this trend line, just in case it did bounce back, and I can maybe take a little bit of profit. But then once it's come down and hit this one, I've also put the other half of the order on that trend line. So my average order is now going to be somewhere in between here. I can check that, but I won't go too far into that for you guys. So where it's sitting now actually is probably where my entry point is. Now that's kind of on topic, kind of off topic. That's my own personal trade that I've put in on the video that I wanted to go into depth about trend lines. So it's just a bit of a coincidence that it happened at that point. You can see that I've got a few different trend lines set up. These are for different time frames, and the big channel that we can see over here is for like the daily and the 4-hour, the daily and 4-hour candles. So that would be a bit more reactive than all these smaller ones down here. But let's get into that. I'll switch over to another coin that I chart, which is, I think it's called Tao, T-A-O. That's not how it's said, or if it actually has a full name, I don't know. It's just this and Bitcoin are the two that I've found that react how I expect to my charts. So they're the two that I use. Now, so when doing trend lines, you really want to zoom out. The common phrase is when in doubt, zoom out. And that'll give you a bigger overview of what is actually happening in the market for this particular coin. So when we go all the way back out even to the daily, we can see some resistance if we click on the highs, go down like that. What we would expect here, I know this is very far away, and I can explain that green box. It's kind of explained there by the Fibonacci thing, but I'll leave that there for when I do the video about the Fibonacci retracements, because that's actually really good to see. When we look at trend lines on the larger time frames, such as the daily, the 4-hour, you're going to see that when it does hit that, it's going to have not just a bigger reaction, but a longer reaction. So all of these candles being 1 day, you can see that that downtrend happened for quite a while. You can actually do the measure tool. So that actually went down for 46 days. Mini retracements in here, but when we look at trend lines on smaller time frames, so if we do like a 15-minute one, the thing is, if you see a reaction on the 15-minute trend lines, you're going to be trading the 15-minute, orders. So you might have an order open for a few hours or half a day, maybe a day. But when you've got the larger time frames, like the 4 hours, the 1 hour, they're the orders that they might seem risky because the resistance and the supports are further away from your entry point for your stop loss. But you can actually hold those for longer, and if it reacts the way that you expect, you're going to be, a lot higher profit because you're not constantly buying and selling. It's you create the order and you hold it for quite a while. So I'm going to zoom in here by going into the shorter time frame. So this is the 4 hour. If we go like that, we can still see the daily time frame that I've got up there for the daily trend line. And we'll start creating a couple on here. Now, what you do want to do is get as many points of contact on the line as you can while still showing a trend. So in these cases, because it did do a pretty big dip, there's no real triangle shapes or anything like that. We're only getting a couple of touches per trend line. Now, we'll zoom in even further. This is where we're going to start seeing reactions on smaller time frames. Now, there's no real science to this, but as I mentioned in the intro video, the simpler that you keep it, and the simpler that you keep it, the more chances of other people doing the same thing. So when we do this and we're trying to get as many contact points as possible, we can see these ones here, almost here, traveling along there. You've got a couple of touches here. If other people are doing their same trend lines the way that you are, then it means that, you know, when they see their candles come and hit the trend line that they've done, they're going to expect support. So they'll place a purchase the same as us. And the more people who are doing the same simplified trend lines, the more people who do that, the more support the market's going to have. So that kind of creates like a self-fulfilling prophecy. People expect it to bounce back, so they buy, and that creates the bounce back. Looking at, we can probably get one through here. Now, this probably doesn't have as many trend lines as it would have done before I cleaned everything up to show everyone. But we can see that in this time frame here, the recent spike has broken out of that. So it could be on its way back up, but we're going to wait for more confirmation. This trend line can continue out here. Again, trying to get as many touches as you can. And it's normal for things, for when they break out, they come back and retest before they go up. And if we look at Bitcoin, you can actually see that in the last couple of days, or possibly even only last night. These Fibonacci, I'll get rid of those to clear everything up for everybody. And we can actually see here that looking at this trend line and this trend line, it's broken out the top of it, come up, retested, hit there, and spiked. Now, if we look at how violent that was on the shorter time frames, so I think I actually had a order in here for a short to sell. I took profit when it came down here. I think it was like really on this point. And that actually, if I didn't delete those Fibonacci retracement patterns, you would have seen why I had the take profit at this point. It's not random that there was a big spike here. Everyone would have had very similar predictions of where it could have gone. And it's when it went down there, it's filled everyone's orders and spiked back up. Now, once it's broken through the downtrend, it's gone up, it's followed it down a bit to retest, and then a big spike. Now, when things happen here, people might be seeing stuff that I haven't charted up. I'm not going to say, as I said in my intro video, I'm definitely not a pro. This is just how I do things. People might have seen something here to suggest that it would go back down, so they've put their shorts in or their sell orders. It could also be institutional. It could also be news related. There might have been something in the news or something that I haven't seen, caused a panic, and it's dropped there. But what I will quickly do is just check. That sort of lines up with the 0.5 Fibonacci, which is an important one, but it's not the most important. It's not the biggest. reaction generally. All right. Okay, it is hard to do new trend lines after a breakout. It does look to be respecting this bottom, which if we zoom out, the shape there is really a channel. I'll go back to the 4 hour, and you can see that pattern there. It's respecting a channel rather than a flag shape or anything else. Whereas when we zoom back in, you can see that a lot of it is, you know, flag shapes made up within that channel. Okay, so let's flip over to Tau. Now, it's really not that complicated, trend lines. I could sit here and try to create more for the sake of showing you, but I really don't think anything like that is needed. We have the longer frame trend lines for the daily. It's not going to hit that for quite a while, I would say. Actually, we've got a top for that daily. Let's have a bottom for that daily. Now, if I zoom in here, you can see that the reason that I did it at that angle is we've got 2 points of contact already. You can see that I've got a green buy zone here, so I personally don't expect it to come back down to this trend line, but it's good to know that if it does break through the sorry, I'm just tidying this up, getting it more into the contact points. But it's good to know that if it does break through this buy area, if there is a lot of resistance to push it back down, then we've got a base here to sort of keep an eye on and retest. So when you look at it at this view, it does seem a little bit convoluted, a little bit messy. But these are just points that if they do approach these trend lines, we'll keep an eye on. And the way that I do that is alerts. So what I'll do here, I'll actually put another line, which you might have seen me delete some of these before. I'll put another line just above that trend line, and I'll set an alert there. Now, if it does come back to retest this trend line, I'll get a notification on my phone, and I can keep an eye on it to see how it reacts to that line. Hopefully, because I now have a long order on there, a buy order, so I'm hoping it goes up. But if it does sort of, whether it goes up and I take profit or whether it comes across and retest, it's another point that I can look at to see if it's going to respect that line, maybe bounce back up. If it doesn't respect that line, we'll be looking at it breaking through and possibly retesting from the other side. Now, I do apologize for not talking like a professional. There's a lot of ums and ahs while I figure out what I want to show everybody. If you do have any questions or anything that I should have gone in deeper into, please just let me know in the comments. And yeah, as I continue doing these videos, I do expect to be talking a lot better and figuring out what people in the community want. But at the moment, it's just, I hope you guys enjoy following along, seeing how a normal person trades, seeing simplified setups, no scalping, not trying to sell courses or anything. Just hopefully gaining people's interest in what I do. I'm sure that in my next video, when I do the next video for the Fibonacci retracements, we'll continue seeing these two instruments, Bitcoin and Tau, T-A-O. So as I show you future videos, the retracements next, maybe a video on these two indicators that I use, I'm going to be having the same charts here. So we'll see we'll see how it reacts to everything I did. I did plan to actually redo the trend lines for the Bitcoin chart, but because it is at this pretty crucial point here where I have a trade on, I might do a second video on trend lines and just basically reconstruct what I've got for Bitcoin. If you do want to keep up with how I do, or if you're interested in this sort of stuff, just please subscribe, like, follow along, whatever all the YouTubers say. I'll post the link to the next video hopefully at the end of this one, so hopefully by the time you see this it's pretty straightforward on where to go next. Alright, thanks for following along. I'll see you all next time.